So, it has been almost a month exactly since I got back from exchange. In case you didn't know, I recently went on exchange for the first semester of 2018. I went to the University of Leeds, and needless to say, I think I failed. Things did not turn out the way I had hoped they would, or the way that I saw them in my head. Sometimes it was in a good way, sometimes it was in a bad way, but basically I wanted to tell you all about how I completely failed on my exchange journey, and whether you can take anything away from that if you choose to also go on exchange. Let's start off with the very basics. So in case you didn't know, I went to the University of Leeds in the UK, and one of the most time-consuming things was actually selecting the uni in the first place. Now at University of Wollongong, we have some universities that are linked to ours called sister unis. So our uni's over here, and then we make arrangements with all these other unis across the world, and if it's one of those unis that has a connection with us, we can go over there and study. It just goes onto our HECS fee like it would if we were studying in Australia. So I decided to pick a university in the UK, and the reason for that was I had never been to the UK or to Europe before, and I was a little bit uncomfortable about going to a university where they didn't speak English. And I think that was kind of my first mistake, because there are a lot of countries across Europe, across the world, that are so phenomenal. And a lot of the universities do offer degrees in English, so if you are thinking about doing exchange, do not discount those degrees. Just do your research and make sure that the university you go to offers your degree in English. So I chose my university, I chose my country. Now I had to look at the little itty bitty details. One of the things I think I did right was booking a flight through a travel agent, because she helped me actually customize a flight that was going to suit me. I wanted to get a return flight from Sydney to Leeds, but then on the way home I didn't want to have to go back to Leeds, so I wanted to leave from somewhere in Europe. So she got me a return flight, Sydney to Leeds via Singapore and London, and on the way home I'd leave from Athens, and all up it only cost me $1,400. Now you could do that yourself, but anyone who's tried to book flights online knows how many different flight options there are and how confusing it can be to see exactly what you've worked out and exactly what's included in your flights. So I think I did that right. I'm going to give myself a tick. So what have we got? We've got one cross and one tick. Okay, next one is choosing subjects. It can be tricky or it can be easy depending on your degree and what's required of you. Because at home I study communications and media with a double major, it means that I don't have any elective space. So if my subjects don't count towards my core degree or any of my majors, then they're not counted at all. But I still wanted to do exchange regardless, so I found myself in a bit of a tricky situation. And in the end, only one of the courses that I actually studied would end up counting towards my degree. Full disclaimer, I think I failed that subject, so all in all, none of my credit points are going to count. So yeah, that's a fail. So just really do your research beforehand, especially maybe even before choosing a university. Make sure that the subjects that you want to study are available in the semester or the trimester that you're going to be over there, and that they're available for exchange students, because not all subjects are. We've picked the uni, and we've picked the country, we've booked our flights, and we've chosen our subjects. A couple of other things you've got to think about. First of all, where are you going to live? In the University of Leeds, where I went to, there are a couple of different options. It's a very student-central town, which means that there's a lot of options available for students. And University of Leeds actually has about I think it's about 16. I can't remember exactly. But they're spread out all over Leeds and all through the surrounding suburbs. And each one will have a bit of a reputation. There are a couple that are renowned for being really quiet, almost like apartment blocks, and that wasn't the sort of thing that I was looking for. I was looking for somewhere where I could socialise, where I could meet people, but also live independently, so I didn't want something that was catered. You do have that option a lot of the time of self-catered food or catered food, which is just basically whether you cook for yourself or not. So the one that I ended up choosing for University of Leeds was James Bailey, and I would thoroughly recommend it. Thoroughly, completely, 100% loved it. The people I was staying with were some of the best people I've ever met in my life. It's a 20-minute walk away from the actual campus itself, but I don't see that as a downside, because you're in this suburb called Headingley, and in Headingley you have pretty much everything you could want for a student. You've got takeaway food, you've got a supermarket, you've got various pubs. Oh my god, so many pubs, so many bars. James Bailey is also kind of unique because it's right in the middle of a kind of triangle of other colleges. So you've got James Bailey, you've got North Hill Court, which is right behind it, and then just on the next street over is Devonshire Hall. If you're looking for somewhere that's sort of quintessentially British in that it looks like Hogwarts, Devonshire Hall is the place to go, and I would recommend that one as well, just because I had a lot of friends who went to Devonshire Hall and they loved it. If you were thinking about going and staying on campus, Charles Morris is the best of the four. This is based on people I know who have lived there and also a bit of my own research. And lastly, the big question that I get asked the most from anyone who knows that I've been on exchange is how much money do you bring? All in all, I went over to the UK with about $22,000. It's a combination of money that I'd saved, money that the University of Wollongong gives you as an incentive to travel overseas, and the only thing you really have to do in return is write a few blog posts or take some photos, which I'm sure you're going to do anyway. Well, I definitely did. And $4,000 of that was also a HECS loan, which is very easy to organise. It just means that you get extra money added to your HECS debt, which you're going to have at the end of university anyway, so there's really no point in not taking that up. That's sort of the 5 real starting off things, isn't it? You know, choosing your uni, booking your flights, choosing your subjects, choosing where you're going to live, and then organising all your money. Uni of Leeds was great, but I could have also chosen a bunch of other unis that weren't in English-speaking countries, so I'm going to give myself a point for both. Flights, yes, did well. Choosing subjects, not the greatest. What else was there? What else did I talk about? Choosing the hall, James Bailey, yes, that is a massive yes. And money, no, I did not budget my money well. I had quite a few instances where I would call my parents up and say, I have $20 left in my bank account, would you please lend me a hand? That's 3 and 3. That's a pretty good starting point. I'm even. I haven't failed, but I haven't quite succeeded either. So, I'm going to wrap that up there, and hopefully this has given you a bit of an insight into the absolutely mental, colossal, incredible experience that I had. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.